Hi, I'm Paul Edwards, author of the Mourner's Woods books, and first and foremost, a monster kid. Tonight I'm watching Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But which version? Robert Louis Stevenson's 1886 story has been adapted to film many times. In the silent era, there were a few different film versions of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The most successful of these was a 1920 version starring John Barrymore, grandfather of Drew Barrymore. Yes, really, look it up. In 1931, there was a Frederick March sound production, and that's the film that I'm going to be watching and talking about tonight. This film was very successful. Frederick March actually won an Academy Award. He won the Best Actor Oscar in 1932 for his portrayal of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in this 1931 version. And this film version was very well received. But 10 years later, MGM wanted to make their own version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde starring Spencer Tracy. They wanted their new version to be the definitive version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And they wanted everyone to forget about all the previous versions. In fact, they were so adamant about this that MGM actually bought the rights to the 1920 John Barrymore Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and the 1931 Frederick March Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and set about destroying them. Yup, they were destroying all the prints of this movie and the negatives that they could find. They were purging the previous versions of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde out of existence. Well, they couldn't quite get all of the 1920 Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hydes, and so we never lost those. But for years, the 1931 Frederick March Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was considered a lost film. It was believed that all the negatives and prints had been destroyed by MGM because they wanted to promote their 1941 version. But justice was served. The 1941 version did not go over well and was not popular with audiences. And Spencer Tracy certainly did not win a Best Actor Oscar for it, like Frederick March won a Best Actor Oscar for his version. The 1931 Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is noteworthy for a couple of things. First of all, this is a pre-code film. Because it's the early 30s, they had a lot more liberties were taken in Hollywood than they were in the latter half of the 30s. And this film came out the same year that the Boris Karloff Frankenstein and the Bela Lugosi Dracula came out. So it was a really good year for monster fans back in the day. A lot of this film is shown from the point of view of Dr. Jekyll and or Mr. Hyde. And when I say from the point of view, I mean literally from the point of view. Like the camera is showing you everything from as if you were in Dr. Jekyll's head, watching the people talking to him and the things that he's doing, and as he's moving around the house, touching different objects and things. And then when he turns to a mirror, you see himself. And of course, that's a foreshadowing because later he's going to look into the mirror and see himself change into Mr. Hyde. The whole movie is not like this. That would be excessive, but a lot is. I would say probably 25 to 30% of this movie is shown through the eyes of Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde. And also there are a couple of moments when we see through the eyes of other characters. I'm actually not crazy about the fact that they did that. I think they should have kept it just either a neutral perspective or seeing through Jekyll's eyes. I think it sort of diluted the effect to have us see through the eyes of other people like Ivy Pearson. But that's a small nitpick. Overall, the effect was great, just great. The movie starts out being seen through Dr. Jekyll's eyes, and it continues that way for about the first 5 minutes. And you start to wonder, wait a minute, is this whole movie going to be like this? But it's not. It's very effective, though. The special effects in this film also deserve note, because this is 1931. Hollywood didn't have anywhere near the expertise in practical effects that they have now, let alone, of course, they didn't have CGI. So the transformations from Dr. Jekyll into Mr. Hyde had to be done in some clever ways. And I'm actually going to show you something from a book that I read when I was a second wave monster kid growing up in the 1970s. From 1975, okay, this was a children's book introducing you to monsters of the movies. And there was a page in here that showed you how they did the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde transformation. Makeup was applied to Frederick March's face, makeup of a certain color, and then lights of that same color were shined on his face so that you couldn't see the makeup. And then slowly, as he stood in front of the camera, slowly they would change the colored lighting in the room. Of course, the film's in black and white, but by changing the colored lighting, the makeup suddenly became visible to the eye, and you could see the distortions in his face that really had been there the whole time because of the makeup, but only now had they become visible. And it was a very smooth transition, and it was excellent. And then later, for the finishing touch, they did add things like, monstrous teeth and a wild wig and, this pronounced brow. But I thought the makeup transition was very clever. One more thing about the image of Frederick March as Mr. Hyde. If you look over my shoulder, you'll see that Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine, issue number 34, featured a painting of the Frederick March Mr. Hyde on its cover. And it's a very impressive monster cover. So that's my favorite version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I'm not knocking other versions. I like the John Barrymore one. I like the Spencer Tracy one, but it just doesn't compare to the 1931 Frederick March version. And if you have missed this version somehow, you absolutely ought to catch it. You can find it now. It's not a lost film at all. Now you can find it easily online. If you enjoy classic monsters and vintage horror, you should check out my book series, the Mourner's Woods books. I've self-published a series of novels on Amazon, all set in a haunted forest. And in each book, a new cast of characters enters into this forbidden wilderness where they encounter different kinds of monsters and creatures in each book. My books are available on Amazon. They're in paperback, ebook, and audiobook. I'll post a link in the description to this video. Thanks for letting me talk to you about my favorite incarnation of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I'll see you in Mourner's Woods.